Number 10. Golden Kamui. What an insane and entertaining anime this one was. Now, while Golden Kamui is based in historical fiction, it has two things going for it that are historically accurate. The first is that the series takes place shortly after the Russo-Japanese War, and the anime shows very realistic characters that have extreme PTSD from participating in the war, and this affects these characters individually in unique ways. The other is its portrayal and education of the Innu people, who are essentially indigenous people from both Japan and Russia. Think sort of like the Native Americans in the United States. Throughout the anime, we learn their culture, their way of living, how they hunt and eat wild animals, their language, and their belief in the gods. From some of the small research that I've done on the Innu people, I can say that the anime knows what they're talking about with this culture. These two elements help this absurd and ridiculous anime somewhat exist in a realm of believability. The enjoyability of the anime is also helped by some entertaining characters. Almost all of the characters are a treat to watch, whether because they are the heroes that we root for, the comic relief that we laugh at, or the villains that we are fearful of. Every character has a distinct personality and each one is more insane than the last, which makes this cast one of the most unique that I've ever seen. Though some portrayal of queer characters was annoying, but nothing too horrible in my opinion. Now, I do have some other problems with Golden Kamui, and one is that the anime doesn't really have a budget to speak of. Models are consistently off, this fire looks ridiculous, lots of still shots, and the CGI on the bears and Asura's wolf looks downright horrid. The anime also ended on a cliffhanger that has no true resolution, telling you to continue the story in the manga, and I hate it when anime do that. I want a conclusion in this anime itself, goddammit. In the end though, Golden Kamui is an anime that gets more entertaining as you watch every episode. Though it does have a few problems, it's an entertaining journey across early 20th century Japan in the search for some gold. Number 9. SSSS Gridman. A sort of spiritual spin-off of the original Gridman series from the 90s, this anime has a lot of things for both old fans of the series and new fans as well. It's split up into two aspects, the action-packed mecha side and the character drama side. On the action mecha side, Studio Trigger uses different styles of animation to convey the different tones of the scenes. For the more character drama stuff, they use regular anime animation in order to convey raw emotion and wacky comedy. Before the action scenes, Studio Trigger will use more CG animation. At first I thought this would be kind of distracting, but then I found myself liking how the CG made the kaiju move in a rubbery and fake way, like how the kaiju would be a guy in a suit in the original live-action mecha series. That made it a lot of fun. Aside from that though, the fight scenes are awesome. Lots of giant creatures, big power-ups, and huge explosions. All that fist-pumping, good stuff. Now the SSS Gridman character drama side was my favorite, as these are some pretty fun and interesting characters. I like our main protagonists of Yuta, Utsumi, and Rika. The Neon Genesis Junior High students were a lot of fun, and not just from that name alone. And the villains of Auntie and Alexis were formidable foes as well. But our main antagonist, Akane, was the star of the anime, as she brought about lots of interesting and surprisingly realistic themes that I didn't expect to see in this series, all leading to an ending that is absolutely perfect. Her and Rika's friendship was also the emotional core of the anime, and I thought that it worked really well. I do have two problems with Gridman though, and one is that, well, this is my first Gridman show, and there were a lot of references made in this anime to past shows that completely flew over my head and made it hard to understand the anime at times. My other negative is the frequent fan service used with Rika's thighs and Akane's breasts. The animators really like to show them off at times, and it could get a little distracting. In the end though, SSSS Gridman was an action-packed character drama anime that I enjoyed immensely, with one of the greatest endings that I've ever seen in anime, and it continues my excitement to see what Studio Trigger will create next. As long as it isn't another Darling in the Franxx though. Number 8. Well, another year, another season of Attack on Titan. and this one was definitely a more low-key season than the last. My favorite thing about this first half of the third season is the character development that we got from some of the characters. Eren finally becomes a likable and engaging protagonist, with him coming to the understanding of who he is in the world and how it connects to his past. We got a backstory for Levi and his connection to Kenny the Ripper, him understanding his family and legacy, and how it all connects to Mikasa as well. But the character to get the most focus and character development this time around was Historia. If the star of the last season was Ymir, then the star in this half of the new season is Historia. Everything that we knew about the character is broken down and she becomes a brand new person, taking the love that she and Ymir shared and the advice she gave her to become a more confident character. I won't spoil the details here, but lots of amazing things happens to my girl Historia. Just like last season, the animation and music are a treat. The one season a year method that the show has been doing has really helped, with the animation always looking consistent and amazing. Though some CGI on a gigantic titan that shows up later does look a little off, but nothing too bad. Unfortunately, I do have a couple of problems with this first half of the third season, same like I did with the arc in the manga. Even though the anime trimmed out a lot of the fat from the manga, a lot of scenes still drag and sometimes go from one exposition info dump flashback to another exposition info dump flashback. It's necessary information that we need to understand, but it just wasn't executed the greatest. It's not the worst, but the pacing did suffer because of it. Even though this first half wasn't as amazing as the second season was, there were still plenty of great battles with great animation and engaging and developed characters that always make me want more. And I'll get more next spring with the second half of season 3, as the characters will finally get into the basement once and for all. Number 7. March Comes In Like a Lion Season 2. One of the most underrated anime of last year, the second season of March Comes In Like a Lion was another example of realistic storytelling that both crushed and broke my heart. It was great to follow the journeys of these characters again, as we got to follow characters that didn't get that much screen time last season. Learning some new details about Shoya's character was very surprising, and watching Yanagihara continue to fight despite his old age was very endearing. But my favorite character and part of the second season was definitely Hina. Her character arc involved her facing severe bullying in her middle school and how it affects her. From the bullies, to the reactions of the other students, to the teachers, to her own family members, everything here is believable and realistic. I was bullied throughout my years of elementary, middle, and high school, so it was very surprising to see bullying like this portrayed so realistically, and it made me cry throughout the first half of this second season. The only problem that arises because of this is that the second half just doesn't manage to match the perfection of the first half, despite it being very good. But that's just a nitpick. It was also good to see our main character Rei in a more positive mood and doing more to better himself and those around him. It's nice character progression that's different from the first season that allows us to see how much he's changed throughout the anime. He spends less time in a depressive mood and spends more time wanting to help the Kawamoto siblings because of all that they've done for him. So that was pretty nice. On the production side, the animation and music was still spot on as it was last time, bringing us lots of great visual moments accompanied with breathtaking and inspiring music. The second season of March Comes In Like a Lion was a great follow-up to a very underrated anime and had an excellent character arc that I'll probably go back to watch again and again. Number 6. Devilman Crybaby. What an experience this anime was. Being Netflix's first true venture into original anime, Devilman Crybaby was a show that no one expected to be this good. Taking the original Devilman manga and 80s OVA series, grotesque violence and very sexualized feeling, and cranking it up a million times. But I feel like it really does work here, and the story is adapted nicely for a modern audience. First off, the animation is very strange and weird, but oh so good. This director has the ability to make this very weird looking animation style look amazing. The trippy moments are crazy and the fight scenes look fantastic.
The writing for the show is also great as well, and the characters are extremely likable as every episode goes on. There are some great character interactions and relationships that carried me through the show. I love all of their personalities, complexity, and the way that they come together at the end. If these characters weren't as great as they were, then the anime would just be overly violent and sexualized and nothing else, but trust me when I say that it still is, but in an enjoyable way. The violence and the sexuality in the show is so over the top, it's unbelievably cool, though definitely not for everyone. It was great watching the first half's gory Monster of the Week style, and then the second half's descent straight into hell. Though I will admit that this shift in tone and action of the show is a bit abrupt. I would have liked to see this shift explored more, and I think if the anime had 1 or 2 more episodes, it would have been a lot stronger. I'll also admit that while I was watching the anime and enjoying the hell out of it, it wasn't connecting with me so much. But then the final 2 episodes left so much of an impact on me, with the final scene of the anime making me bawl my eyes out for a while after. In fact, these last 2 episodes connected with me so much that, at a later date, I went back and watched the entire show again, and enjoyed it even more. This anime was a great new version of the Devilman franchise, and one that I thoroughly enjoyed. Cry, Devilman, cry.